Hello everyone, it's Blaze and welcome back to another game theory. This is Amanda the Adventure 2 theory. I'm excited, they're trying to figure out what Wooly exactly is in here. So without delay, let's just start this thing.
Who is Wooly in Amanda the Adventurer?
Who?
This single question has plagued
Is
all
it
of
her
us since
father?
the very first game. Heck, we've already done 2 videos tearing our hair out trying to figure it out. But now, thanks to the sequel, we're going to not only end the debate of who Wooly is, but also answer the question of why Wooly is.
Isn't it her father?
Hello Internet! Welcome to Game Theory, the show that's always happy to hear from an old friend.
Let's listen to all of it right now. DJ Two Shades.
This is DJ Two Shades again. You're still here. That's great.
Does this mean that Amanda the Adventurer and
Wait,
Mortuary
what?
Assistant share a universe? They're both published by Dread XP, so I
That's
suppose
kinda
it's
cool.
possible.
That's
I
cool.
should probably look into that. But not today, because we've got to give all our attention to our demonic Dora wannabe and her brand new sequel, Amanda the Adventurer 2. Everyone has been stoked for this sequel, mainly in the hopes that it will finally give
I
us some
liked it.
answers to its
So if you didn't know my gaming channel, obviously always links in the description to there, but I did a playthrough of it and I give it a 6 out of 10. There were some major problems, mainly that book puzzle at the beginning and to get the ending. Luckily, from an update, they changed around it, so maybe I might at least just check it out on my own time to see if it changed or not. But who knows? But still, I did not like that puzzle, and it honestly kind of ruined the experience for me.
ever-confusing story. So far, the story appears to be that of a human girl called Rebecca and her father, Sam. They started a live-action show called Amanda the Adventurer. After some initial success, it was picked up by a company called Hamlin Entertainment, who turned it into an animated show and a living nightmare. Rebecca was forced to summon a demon entity while also having her mind forced into the show itself. She literally became Amanda. Her father, Sam, then mysteriously went missing, and Hamlin began using the show to lure kids away from their homes, putting them inside the tapes just like Amanda, never to be seen
How
again. Really
exactly?
living up to their Pied Piper naming conventions there. This is where we come in. We play as Riley, and we're following leads left by our Aunt Kate, who was trying
Poor
to
Kate.
solve the mystery of this show. In this sequel, that investigation leads us to a library alongside the mysterious masked character from the end of the first game. Now, it's up to us to do what we do best. Solve the puzzles, find all the VHS tapes, and try not to die to the Amanda demon that's lurking in the ceiling. If we do all that, we're rewarded with an escape hatch in the back of the library to run away from the demonic Wooly that just showed up. And that is why it's important to support your local library, kids. You never know when you're gonna need a secret underground vault tunnel for demonic emergencies. But
I can't
if
wait
we
for
pay
Game
close
3.
attention to all the details
That
leading
did-
up to this moment, we are all
I can't wait for Game 3, but still, that Demon Wooly really came out of nowhere. I want to know more about it and how it exactly came to be, but I cannot wait for Game 3 when it eventually releases in 2 years, just like the sequel did.
also rewarded with one of the most important resources from any library: knowledge. Knowledge about the true lore of this game, the origins of Hamlin Entertainment, who is in control of Amanda, and what the heck is Wooly's deal. For some reason, this guy is the biggest mystery of the entire
really is.
franchise.
He
Every
really is.
theory comes back to him in some way, but no more. Let's not rack up any more late fees, theorists. It's time to return to the library and see if we can finally solve the mysteries of Amanda the Adventurer. And to start with, I actually want to focus on the same character our last theory ended on, the
Awesome.
opossum. In the demo, this guy was a mysterious character that didn't really show up all that much, but he was clearly meant to be a reference to Dora's swiper, as he steals Amanda's coin so that she couldn't try to escape during the opening scene. This made it feel like he was supposed to be important, and we ended up concluding that this opossum was likely connected back to Hamlin in some way. By stealing the coins, Amanda couldn't go on her adventure, and Hamlin don't want her escaping this new TV realm she finds herself in, especially after all the effort they went through to summon the demon entity in the first place. Now, in the full
wanna know
release,
how they
the
did that.
opossum is back, and I was right. He's definitely important, just not in the way I initially thought. He keeps showing
how
up as he
exactly?
did before, causing havoc and attacking both Amanda and Wooly, leading to them getting more and more annoyed. And believe me, I get it. I'd
Oh
be
my.
annoyed too if someone kept
Oh my.
bugging me,
Oh my.
attacking me, and
I did not see
trying to
that.
rip my eye out. Don't even think about it. This annoyance culminates in a final scene in an alleyway where suddenly the opossum's attention switches from his usual Amanda-shaped target and onto us. They attack the screen and we see a couple of subtitles appear repeating a single broken word. Before they can get the whole word out though,
John?
Amanda and Wooly tackle them to the ground and throw them in the dumpster. As with most things in this franchise, at first, it's not super clear what we're seeing play out here. But
Is it John?
if you rewind just a little bit, there is one single hint that explains the whole thing. Throughout this playthrough, we have a walkie-talkie that was given to us by our new masked friend. They occasionally just chime in to help drive the story forward, and one of those times is just as the opossum is going to bother Amanda in the alleyway.
What the hell happened in here?
But just like Amanda has been able to hear us and use items that we offer her from the real world, the opossum seems to be able to hear this outside stimuli. That is what causes the opossum to switch targets. They are reacting to the voice of the masked
that's actually pretty
figure.
cool.
And once you get to the true ending of the game, we come to realize why. Upon playing the secret tape from our Aunt Kate, the masked character removes their mask, tells us that their name is Joanne, and says that they've been
Joanne.
looking for their younger brother, Jordan. If those names sound familiar to you, then congratulations! You've got the same amount of theory brain rot that I do.
Yay.
We saw these names on a note back at the very start of the very first
I didn't see
game.
it.
A woman named Joanne was asking for Kate's help to find her brother, Jordan, who went missing after watching Amanda's show. Now, think back to what we saw the opossum character doing. They heard Joanne's voice on the walkie-talkie, stopped what they were doing, and began trying to communicate directly.
Oh. Joanne.
Joanne. This
Joanne?
opossum is
Oh
reaching
my
out to
gosh.
the voice it recognizes, his sister's voice. The opossum is the missing kid from the first game.
Oh my gosh,
Jordan.
that
In
makes
the
so
bad
much
ending,
sense now.
Joanne tells us that we need to smash the tapes in order to free kids like Jordan. So she does just that, and sure enough, a soul rises out from the broken remains. Seems we were right that these kids who were disappearing were being put into the tapes to make the show feel more alive. However, the original story of the Pied Piper had 130
Oh my
kids go
gosh.
missing. If this game is following that, which it definitely
Seriously,
seems to be,
why'd they make
that's
that?
a lot of tapes we gotta find and smash. So far, there's only been 17 Amanda tapes. I know fans want their favorite franchises to go on forever, but don't you think that's a little extreme? Although, that's
A
if
little.
we're even able to get close to collecting that full number of tapes in the first place. In the true ending, Joanne tells us that Amanda's demon is protecting these tapes. And in the bad ending, after Joanne smashes one, Amanda's demon attacks her for doing so. Naturally, I just thought this was an evil entity doing evil entity things. It's a demon,
makes sense.
after all. It was summoned by Hamlin and bound to Amanda in order to lure all of these kids and kill anyone that got in their way. But in this game, we see something interesting happen. There's a point where Wooly is telling a story to try and cheer up Amanda, and you have to open books to match the story he's presenting.
Oh yeah,
However,
that part. That was
doing so
interesting.
summons Amanda's demon from the ceiling, and it kills you. The solution is actually to ignore Wooly's instructions and instead follow Amanda's drawings she's posted on the wall. Once the story is over, the demon once again tries to kill you, but Amanda calls out and stops it.
No! They helped me feel better.
This demon isn't completely mindless, nor is it evil and working for Hamlin. It's obedient to Amanda.
Oh,
it follows
that's actually-
her orders,
Duh,
which
why
means
didn't I realize
that
that?
protecting the tapes isn't part of Hamlin's plan, it's part of hers.
Why,
that
though?
seems strange. We've talked a few times about how Amanda is desperately trying to get out of these tapes, so why would she not want the same for all the other kids? By destroying the tapes, aren't we helping them get the very thing that she so desperately wants for herself? It could be that she's jealous. We saw in the first game that she's terrified of being alone like the lonely kitten, so if she's stuck in these tapes, at least I guess she would have some company? But then, I noticed that we only destroy a tape in the bad ending. In the true ending, Joanne says that someone told her to smash the tapes in order to free her brother's
though.
soul. She then later refers to them as the psychos who burnt down Kate's house to again try and destroy the tapes. At the end of her monologue, she tells us that Hamlin needs to be taken down. Clearly, clearly these things are connected. Hamlin are the ones who went after Kate for investigating them. They destroyed her house.
Obviously.
They are the ones trying to destroy the tapes.
Why, though?
Hamlin is evil. That's pretty well established at this point.
Why are
so
they
smashing these tapes
why
and
do they want to
releasing their
destroy
souls isn't going to help bring these kids back. It's probably going to feed into whatever demonic ritual or plan they actually have coming up next. That's why Amanda attacks us when we destroy them. By following those instructions, we're helping the very people that caused this mess, and I would suspect causing those kids more pain and suffering.
That makes
By
sense.
keeping them in the tapes, they're safe, protected by Amanda. She may even have a way to bring them back properly in the future. It's hard to say for sure. This series has always leaned hard into cryptic clues that can't be answered until the sequel. But what I am sure about is that as we go through however many sequels this series is going to have,
I hope the next
we'll
one
be
is the last
slowly
one.
winning Amanda over, just like we did in this story minigame. We're going to show her that we are trying to save these kids too, that we are on her side. And once we build that trust enough, we're gonna have a demon entity on our side to help us stop Hamlin. Maybe we'll even get a cool kaiju-style battle between Demon Amanda and Demon Wooly, all while we
that
just sit in
Wooly
the
one
corner
is still
frantically trying
weird.
to solve a puzzle made for children. What can I say? A theorist's got a theorist. But this sequel
probably
isn't
both.
done with big reveals yet. We found the opossum, but there's one other identity that this game is trying to
About
share
time
with
they
us,
get to
one that
Wooly.
has been bothering us since the very beginning. Wooly. I know. The last 2 theories we've done have all been about who this flippin' sheep is. I'm as annoyed about it as you are. But trust me, I do truly believe that this game has the answers we need to finally put this mystery to bed. I just need to put in the next VHS tape and... could you give me a hand? If you hit that subscribe button, it should start playing the next part of the theory. Yeah, it's a new
already
quirky YouTube
subscribed.
feature, don't worry about it. Thanks, friend. Now, on to the Wooly debate. If you're
Hit subscribe
unaware,
for me as
since
well.
the first game came out, Wooly's identity has been the subject of much debate. We here at Theorist have always fallen into the camp of Wooly being Sam, Rebecca's father.
it
In the
really
first
does make
game,
sense.
Wooly was trying to keep Amanda on track with the positive messages, stopping her from leaning too much into the dark themes like death and rotting.
Amanda, nothing is rotten here.
He was always trying to cheer her up, stopping her from becoming a monster. Sometimes it even worked.
It's my birthday. Maybe we can help her out.
My friend is having a
Hooray,
birthday.
good for
It
you,
felt like
Wooly.
a father who cared deeply for his daughter, who didn't want the awful
Definitely did
things
seem
Hamlin
like
was
it.
doing to affect the show. In this sequel, we see him do a lot more of the same, telling stories to try and cheer her up.
Maybe doing something will make you feel better. How about an adventure?
But while we have been theorizing in that direction, others went a different way, feeling that it's more
How?
likely that Wooly was actually a Hamlin employee working on
Oh.
the inside to try and keep Amanda
Yeah, that
on
makes
track
sense.
and stop her from freeing herself and the other kids. A wolf in sheep's clothing, if you will. And to be honest, I can't really deny the evidence supporting
Does make
this.
sense.
It's actually something I've wrestled with a lot while making this theory. In this sequel especially, if Amanda's demon is supposed to be working against Hamlin, they don't want it summoned, which is why Wooly has been working so hard to keep it under wraps. We also see Wooly getting really annoyed at the opossum and his antics, proclaiming,
I can't handle this anymore.
"That sounds just like a disgruntled employee that didn't sign up for this level of torment." At another
Yeah.
point during the glitchy tapes, we see a giant Wooly looming over a screaming Amanda. This comes after we hear the butcher say,
This is still creepy.
That phrase is something I'm sure we've all heard at a doctor's office, either before a surgery or an injection, revealing to us that the butcher we've been seeing throughout the games is actually meant to represent a doctor or surgeon that turned Amanda into a monster. Now that the surgery's been a success, she's in the tapes and under the watchful eye of Wooly. Finally, there's, the giant demon Wooly that appears at the end of the game.
How does that
Much like
happen, though?
Amanda's steps in when you're ruining her plans, this one comes in after Joanne tells you about Hamlin and their plans to destroy the tapes. The demon Wooly is here to stop her ruining the plan any further. It is on Hamlin's side.
I
Now,
don't-
you might be
I don't see
thinking,
that one.
Tom, that doesn't sound like a game that's trying to give us the answer. It seems like there's still justification for both options. And you, loyal theorists, are completely right. If it
Yay.
weren't for the thing this game hooked all us lore hunters with back in the first game, secret tapes. In this series, by breaking sequence or by doing specific puzzles at different points, you can unlock these colorful secret tapes that don't reveal the next
that one
episode
happen?
of Amanda the Adventurer for us to interact with, but real footage of real people that build up the backstory of this series and its characters.
was that part of it?
Exactly what we need to figure.
I'm just wondering when that pig one will happen. I don't remember that pig one happening. Did I miss one of them? I don't know. I honestly don't know, but I did 100% the game, so I guess I somehow got it. I don't know.
Figure out Wooly's true identity. In Amanda 2, there are 4 tapes, most of which are pretty straightforward. The red tape shows Sam telling a story to a bunch of kids at the local library. Afterwards, a businessman in a suit asks Sam if he's got a minute, which is usually business speak for, I'd like to offer you a job, or in this case, I'd like to buy your show, please and thank you. This
Makes
is
sense.
Hamlin buying out Sam's original live-action Amanda the Adventurer to create the show that we all know and,
That's gross.
just know. The orange tape is a meeting between our Aunt Kate and a group of people she's working with to discuss the disappearance of the kids and the use of demonic entities inside the show, tying it back to a cult from the Middle Ages. We've already established
crazy
how Hamlin
how it's
Entertainment
Middle
was
Ages.
taking inspiration from the Pied Piper of Hamlintown story, which, wouldn't you know it, comes from the Middle Ages, 1284 to be exact.
Jeez,
Whatever
that's
group
that
it
old?
was that took the kids
Jeez.
all those years ago in the Middle Ages, this is telling us that it's that same group operating today under the guise of Hamlin Entertainment. It also tells us that Rebecca has been inside the tapes for 15 years.
15 years?
Which might explain
forgot
why
about that.
Amanda can feel herself rotting.
Sometimes I feel myself rotting.
And then, in the green tape, we can see Rebecca's body hooked up to a machine in a hospital setting, rotting away. Her brain activity being monitored using an EEG cap, just like Matt theorized about in our very first theory. But
Man,
then
that's an old
there's
theory.
the blue tape, and this is where our answers truly lie. Sam is being kept in a tiny room somewhere away from his daughter. He argues with his captor over the contract he signed, while being asked to say things to Rebecca to convince her to keep going along with their plans.
Rebecca, honey, I am so proud of you. And I know that our friends are taking care of you while I'm away.
Clearly,
poor
this is
Sam.
Hamlin at work here, and when Sam refuses, they decide to lock him up. It's actually a little hard to watch. The internal conflict of wanting desperately to see her, but also not wanting to lie to her. If he doesn't do what they say, he gets locked up and will never see the light of day again. Something that we've
Oh,
actually
poor
seen
Sam.
happen to another character in this franchise. In
Which
the
one?
build-up to the sequel's release, we got a random video on Twitter from this character in a white room thanking us for our support and reading a message from Amanda. However, right at the end, they put the note down and say this.
Okay, I did what you asked. Now,
Oh, well.
please, let me go.
That's right, Tom, still on the Sam is Woolly train. All aboard! Toot toot!
I like
Hooray.
trains.
Yay!
But, I mean, come on. 2 characters both being locked away somewhere, being forced to say things they don't want to say, all with the hopes of being let go? They're exactly the same. How could I not be on this train? There's also this random chicken in the background, and last
Hello,
time we
Miss
talked
Rooster.
about how the rooster represents Sam. So for a white chicken to be here alongside
Is that rooster holding a Glock? I can't be the only one who sees that. Is that rooster holding a Glock? Huh. Weird. Well, he's definitely being forced to say it at gunpoint. Haha.
Wooly, it feels like a subtle nod to his true identity. So what about all the evidence that points towards Wooly working directly for Hamlin? You can't just ignore that. Well, don't worry, theorists. You can put your pitchforks down. I'm not going to ignore anything. In fact, I actually think this evidence works together really nicely.
How
We've just
so?
been looking at it all wrong. During the We Can Fix It video, Wooly is doing his usual thing, being actively negative to the situation, trying to keep Amanda on track.
Amanda, none of this is worth fixing.
But when we have a broken butterfly before us, Wooly suddenly gets a rush of compassion and wants us to show Amanda that we can fix anything, including her.
Can't really fix everything.
No, you were right, Amanda. We can fix anything. We can fix it, right?
We're seeing
Yes.
2 versions of Wooly in a single tape. One that's helping Hamlin and one that wants to help Amanda. Sam wants to
Oh,
help
that
his
actually
daughter,
makes
but
sense.
as we saw in the blue tape, he is being coerced, forced to go along with Hamlin's plan. If he doesn't do what they ask, he'll remain locked up, and who knows what awful thing could happen as a result.
So-
On the red tape, the Hamlin
So does that mean Sam is actually both working for Hamlin and against Hamlin at the same time? Huh. You know, that actually makes sense with the stuff of the blue tape. That actually makes a lot of sense.
An employee mentions that Sam has been able to build a strong connection with the kids with the stories he tells. And then in the blue tape, what is he doing? He's telling Amanda, a child, a fake story to convince her to help Hamlin. Hamlin has seen Sam's ability to engage with children, and so by essentially holding him at gunpoint, they can use him
makes
to
sense.
manipulate Amanda and all the other children that watch the show. This is why
Really
his
does make
actions have
sense.
appeared so inconsistent. Sam, Wooly, wants to help Amanda, he wants to fix her, but he's also under strict orders to not mess anything up. This isn't a case of Wooly being Sam or someone from Hamlin. The truth is, it's both. The only question I have now is, how did he end up in this situation? Was being turned into Wooly a punishment for refusing to go along with their plans in the blue tape? Or was it another stipulation of his clearly awful contract?
Probably
I don't
that one.
think so. If that were the case, he'd be there against his will and wouldn't likely be falling in line so easily, just like we saw in the blue tape and like we're seeing Amanda do. Instead, the truth is actually much sadder and much darker than any of us
How sad does it
realized, and
go?
it all comes
Oh,
down to the
no.
when you're feeling bad tape. I
Oh, how
mentioned this
bad does it
minigame
go?
earlier. Amanda is, well, feeling bad, and so Wooly decides to cheer her up by telling her a story. It's a pretty by-the-numbers kids' fantasy story. We have a brave knight who receives a quest from a wizard to save the princess from a dragon. But Amanda isn't interested. She has a different story in mind. If you instead follow the pictures that Amanda has drawn and placed on the wall, you end up with a story about a knight and a princess who loved each other very much, but the knight suddenly abandoned the princess. She goes to the wizard to help find him, but the wizard tricks her and turns her into a dragon. At this point, you're probably starting to see
dragon is that?
parallels. Amanda was turned into a monster by Hamlin, so the princess is Amanda/Rebecca, the dragon is her demon form, the wizard is Hamlin, and the knight? Well, there's only one possible
Sam.
option left. It's Sam. Think about it. In the fake version of events, the one Hamlin wants Amanda to believe, Hamlin, the wizard, sent Sam, or Wooly, the knight, on a noble quest to save Amanda from the demon. He's there to help her, to stop the demon from appearing, and so by trusting him and following his lead, Amanda will get to live happily ever after just like the princess. But that's not the true story Amanda remembers. The true story, or at least the true story as far as she's concerned, is that Sam abandoned her. We see in the blue tapes that he's being held captive away from her, but she's a child. She's not going to understand those nuances, especially with Hamlin manipulating the tapes. Plus, we learnt from the first game that Rebecca isn't Sam's biological daughter, but his adopted daughter. She's
About time he
already
brings that
been
back out.
abandoned once before, and regardless of whether the reasons were good or bad, that feeling of being abandoned by a parental figure, it can be really hard to shake. When he disappears for no
poor
reason,
Rebecca.
naturally she's going to feel betrayed by the person who promised to protect her. So she asked Hamlin for help, and they said they would, getting her to sign a contract, and from there turned her into a monster. However, that isn't where Amanda's story ends. In the final section, the knight comes back to slay the dragon, only to realize after he does the deed that it was the princess all along. He had killed his true love, and so resolved to wander the earth alone forever. At some point, Sam did escape from his confinement and rushed to find Rebecca. He may even have been the one filming the footage found on the green tape from the hospital, running
sense.
once he was spotted because he wasn't supposed to be there. From there, though, the story implies that he does eventually encounter Amanda's demon and tries to kill it. But in doing so, he sadly kills his own daughter.
How,
Amanda's
though?
real body isn't rotting because she's lying comatose in a hospital bed, but because she died at her father's hand. The only part of her that remains now is her mind inside these tapes, and she hasn't forgiven him for what he did. When you go looking for treasure in the woods, you can dig up an unmarked grave,
I'm not
and
sure on that
inside
one.
it are a pile of Sam's clothes that he wore in one of the interview tapes. In previous theories, we've pointed out that when we saw an unmarked grave in the demo, the correct answer was Wooly, again connecting these two characters. But when they see these clothes, both Wooly and Amanda agree that some things are better buried, forgotten. Amanda wants to forget about her father, that he abandoned her, while Wooly wants her to forget the horrible things that he did so that they can rebuild their relationship inside the game. That is why I believe Sam got turned into Wooly in the first place. I'll admit this next part is a little speculative, but bear with me.
Yeah, it does-
Sam
it's a
killed
little
his
weird.
own daughter and was completely torn apart by it. But if he'd
theory's a
seen
little
Hamlin's
weird.
experiments in the hospital, he'd know that part of her lived on. She was still alive inside the show, and so he turned himself into Hamlin, asked them to experiment on him, and turn him into a character so that he and Amanda could be together again. They agreed. Their only condition was that he stop fighting them and keep Amanda on track with their plan. Once again, he was being coerced by Hamlin, but he needed to be with his daughter again, so he accepted. He got put into the show as Wooly, and in turn, that created the demonic sheep that we see at the end of the game. That is why Sam isn't fighting nearly
100%.
as hard as he was
I'm
in
not
the
sure.
retake, because he can't. He made a deal, and he has to hold up his end of the bargain if he wants to remain with his daughter. This might also explain how, after Amanda kills him in the first game, Wooly is suddenly able to show back up in the sequel with no real consequence. Unlike
Well,
Rebecca,
it is a
Sam
cartoon.
may not be dead. He's just hooked up to a machine and can be put back into the show so Hamlin can keep control. And each time that happens, Hamlin puts more and more pressure on Sam to keep her in line, to keep the demon at bay, so that they can destroy the tapes and fulfill their master plan. Whatever that is. Maybe this weird ARG someone found in the credits will give us some answers.
Wait, there was an
but
ARG?
hey, that's just a theory. A game theory!
Honestly, I'm not 100% sure on this one. Like, I do believe Sam is Wooly, but for the reasons they give him, or give why, I'm not 100% sure on that one. I'm not 100% convinced, because that last part of the theory, like, where Sam killed his daughter, that part I don't really agree with on that one. That doesn't feel right. And the demon sheep Wooly, or whatever it is going to be pronounced as, or called, I don't know, but I don't know. It just, that part just really feels out of left field. Like, if it was teased, if we were like, say, like, there was an event that happened earlier in the game that caused the true ending to happen. Like we did something to make the true ending happen way earlier in the game. Like, then they could tease it up to the sheep Wooly further on. But I don't know. In my opinion, the sheep Wooly really did come out of nowhere, and I both agree and disagree with this theory. Like, half of it I agree with, the other half, but still, I enjoyed this theory. It was interesting, and I really did like Amanda the Adventure 2. It did have its problems, like how some puzzles just felt disconnected from the actual tapes compared to the first game, but still, I enjoyed it a lot. But for now, thank you all for watching this, and I'll see you on whatever I post next. Bye, guys.